lies. You are listening to the JohnAge Project.
Trust no one. Trust no one. Trust no one.
You found it. You're here. You're headlong down the runaway train that is the AnomicAge, and I am your host, JohnAge. Thank you ever so much for being back with us once again, coming at you. Excuse me. Coming at you in the not so wee hours of the PM. You take care of this problem because it's already irritating me. There we go. That's a little bit better, isn't it? I'll be your tour guide this afternoon as we take a somewhat satirical journey down the path of murder, destruction, mayhem, and the extermination of human life on this planet by a satanic death cult of pedophiles. Sorry, getting a little excited. Coming at you in the not so wee hours. Got a little bit more pep in my step, perhaps. And it's not even that terrible outside in the coastal plain of the old North State this afternoon. It's a little bit hot, but in the satanic heat that I'm used to. Somebody posted this just the other day. I thought I would mention it too. It seems a little bit odd, but it does seem the leaves are falling a little early. It's kind of weird out here, man. It's kind of weird. But then again, should we be surprised? Because after all, it's flooding here, there, and everywhere, to, fro, and everywhere you might happen to go. Now the Midwest is getting flooded out. Just like the Southwest and just like the Northeast. I mean, it's so funny that I guess just Americans just love getting their nose rubbed in the brown stuff. That's really all I can think of. That's really all I can say. They love it. They love it. It's a cuck society. Our whole society is about how can you get punked the hardest. They need to bring back that show Punked with that Ashton Kutcher boob. And just do just whole societal cultural punked exercises. I mean, I guess they already did that. I mean, they just keep running these huge global psyops, PSYOP 19, anyone? 9/11, anyone? Weapons of mass destruction, anyone? I mean, they just keep running these ops over and over again just to punk the whole world, specifically the Americans, and just rub your nose in the brown stuff. It's just wild, buddy. Before I get into that, check out AnomicAge.com if you've not already done so. Please like all the likes, subscribe to all the subscriptions. I've spruced it up a little bit. Had to change some things at the bottom. You'll notice that anyway. So that took me like 3 days. But I think I've gotten that where I want it again because I can't afford something that I was paying for. So there you go. That's just how it works. That's how that works. You just... Anyway. Oh, my gracious goodness sakes alive. I see something else that's going to drive me nuts. Let me see. I just love doing stuff on the fly. I think it's kind of hilarious because no matter how much work you put into this show, I'm speaking of, something's fouled up every time. It's beyond the pale. It really is. Let's jump into the deep end of the pool, shall we, ladies, gentlemen, boys and girls, humans of all ages. Those of you who still identify as human, that mind you. So, what are we going to get into first today? I think you already know. This. I wanted to do this show this weekend, but I just didn't have the time. So here I am, and there you are, and I'm happy you're with me, and hopefully you're happy I'm here. So we're going to cover President Trump, once again, just psyoping, gaslighting, just straight punking the American people. I mean, it's just comedy at its finest, folks, that this is still going on. Just punking the American people over and over again. And the lapdogs, the cult members, whatever you want to call them, are just still going, thank you, sir. May I have another? Mess from Animal House. That's really what's going on around here, folks. It's crazy. So I did a little work on this one, moved JD over and changed the sign a little bit just so it says what it should have said on his big poster board in this meeting. These are not the pedos you're looking for. It's just downright comedy, folks. Comedy. I can't believe it. I don't even know how people do a serious show because it's comical. It really is just downright comical. This sort of complete hilarity of it all. All right, let's start things off with this one. This is the first clip we're going to show you and discuss where Trump is still talking about Operation Warp Speed being the greatest thing since sliced bread. I mean, just the tone-deaf stupidity or the gaslighting of the American people. How do you want to weigh this out? Is this just Trump being the dumbest person and just straight up tone-deaf that half of his actual base isn't on board with the vaccine, isn't on board with Operation Lockstep, wasn't on board with the Fauci and the mask mandates and the 6 feet apart and all the hoopla of turds? They weren't on board with this, Trump. But don't worry, because you're still Jim Jones in most of the populace, I guess. Kick it off, folks.
You were the driving force behind Operation Warp Speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard.
Right.
Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with
Research
the
on
entire
what?
medical community and with you. What is going on?
Research on what?
Into mRNA vaccines.
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, you know, that is a pass. Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, you know, that was now a long time ago. And we're on to other things, but we are speaking about it. We have meetings about it.
Okay, let's unpack this a little bit, and then we're going to get into the RFK Jr. stuff. But let's just take this on its face, if you will, prima facie. Anyone in their right mind who actually believes that they pulled a vaccine out of their rear in a couple months in what was referred to as quote-unquote Operation Warp Speed, if you buy that, how's that old song? I got some oceanfront property in Arizona for you. Anybody who buys that, okay? And I'm going to go one step further. Anyone who buys the fact that this came out of China, that this was not in a lab in North Carolina, that this wasn't, put in China by Barry Soetoro when they just shut off some funding here and there. Anyone who actually believes that 6 feet apart did anything, anyone who actually believes that wearing La Mascara was actually stopping anything, anyone who actually believes anything by that bipedal piece of poo-poo, Fauci, this is the same slime bucket that brought you the hoax of the AIDS epidemic. This is the very same slime bucket that was doing animal testing with your tax dollars for decades. This is the same slime bucket that was doing the beagle testing and then also the primate testing. Same guy, Primate Island, look into it off the coast of South Carolina. Check out the funding. Same piece of filth, folks. So if you're buying any of the pee-pee and poo-poo that this punk is selling, you're a fool. Okay? But don't worry, because Chairman Trump is actually on stage, like last week, still praising to high heavens Operation Warp Speed, one of the greatest things this nation and world's ever seen. It was just unbelievable. It's unbelievable how many people died from the vaccine and will continue to. It's unbelievable, the criminal acts that Fauci promulgated. It's unbelievable how hospitals killed people on the ventilator. It's unbelievable how they were pushing remdesivir to kill people. It's unbelievable how many funerals that I couldn't even go to because the family was too afraid to have a freaking funeral for their dead family member. It's unbelievable the height of mental idiocy where people wouldn't even go eat dinner with family members on holidays. People had to watch loved ones die from outside the hospital window. It's all unbelievable, Trump. Unbelievable you're still peddling this bull. Anyway, we got to move on because even though RFK Jr. is clearly in the back pocket of Shmuley, a broken clock's right twice a day, so they say. So RFK Jr. pulls $50 million in funding for mRNA vaccine contracts. Keep in mind, folks, this is like a drop in the bucket. I mean, just get serious. People see these big numbers, and because they're all poor trash, the average person looks at that and says, oh, that's a lot of money. I guess not when you consider the billions that we PP away in Israel, in Ukraine, and every third world despot on the globe. 50 million ain't much. Yeah, 50 million would definitely give everybody in this nation real free healthcare that might actually help them. Sure. 50 million would get vast majority of the homeless off the streets and into some sort of housing. Sure. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a good move. I'll say good job, RFK Jr., but I mean, it's kind of like stating the obvious. And like, of course you shouldn't beat your kids with a freaking hammer. Of course, Of course you shouldn't slap your husband around with a tire iron. Of course. I mean, of course you shouldn't give 500 million to mRNA research. That's flipping obvious, but I guess they still have not done anything about defunding the fluoridation in all the water. Remember, they were going to do that a couple weeks back, and then the usual suspect filth, the Republicans were blocking it. Yes, we're still on the hook for the fluoride. I mean, good job with the 500 million that we're not funding for death, but we'll still dumb you down with the water. It's just so unbelievable. I mean, how many years have they been denying chemtrails? And now finally they're beginning to like soft pedal into, oh yeah, we've been doing this mess since the late 40s. Yeah, we've been doing cloud seeding, Operation Popeye. That was just some obvious stuff in the 60s and 70s, but we've been doing it way before that. Duh. It's like jumping in the Atlantic Ocean and going, holy shnikes, there's salt in here. I don't believe it. Unflipping believable. Let's see. We got some more hilariousness. Let's jump in on this one because this is going to be fun too. I'm going to talk on this one because here we are. Well, I'm not going to talk yet. I'm going to shut my mouth and let this fine lady talk for herself. Let's go.
We have a problem with anti-Semitism in this country, and the statistics bear that out. And I think now more than ever, we are seeing increased numbers. So what does that mean? What it means, if you can get from, my tone, we're going to be very aggressive. You heard from the FBI, the MPD. We're going to look for these cases. We're going to prosecute these cases to the full force of the law. It's a problem, and we're not going to tolerate it. Anti-Semitism has historically been one of the biggest scabs in the world that keeps getting picked on and picked at. So, from my perspective, I will go forward with every case with vengeance.
Ooh, every case with vengeance, good Lord. Don't say it, Pirro. Every case with vengeance, good Lord. So that was DC's own Attorney Pirro. 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 Pirro's going after all them people. All right, so let me set the stage a little bit better here, because somebody's going to think I'm a jerk. That might be true. But here's the deal. I'm going to pull this up even bigger here, because I want to see this for myself. Let's put this fine attorney on the screen here. There we go. We don't want to leave anybody out. So we got Pirro. Jeanine Pirro, U.S. Attorney for District of Criminals. Jeanine Pirro. Is this Jeanine that everybody keeps talking about like she's something big? I guess. Anyway, 2 Israeli embassy students killed. Oh, excuse me, staffers killed. Staffers, my bad. So, here's the deal, Pirro. We're going after anybody with vengeance. What? Vengeance. Reminds me of Sinjin from the great Airwolf series. Anyway, Pirro is going after everybody with vengeance that's going to hurt or in any way disparage anybody that's even remotely Jewish. Walk by a synagogue, you're Jewish. Wear a funny hat, Jewish. Matzo ball, Jewish, whatever. Anyway, this is too much, man. So I'm not disparaging whoever murdered these 2 people. That's obviously despicable, not condoning it. You're a scumbag murderer. You should get the death penalty if convicted, right? Obvious stuff here. We're, again, calling water wet and acting like it's something novel. It's not. It's just normal. So we got that. But the real problem is this going after anybody that disparages anybody Jewish with vengeance. That's what really hacks me off. Going after a criminal that commits a crime is obvious bread and butter, water's wet, fire's hot kind of material. But the real thing is the obvious targeting of anyone that questions, disparages, says anything even remotely construed as negativo against anybody that might be Jewish. That's where it really hacks me off. And that's the kind of hyperbolic bull that we've seen from the Trump regime phase 2 since the jump. Wouldn't have anything to do with that 100+ mil from old Miriam Allison, now would it? Check back my shows like, 3 months ago when I outlined pretty much everybody that was new that he was putting in his cabinet of notes. And I went down the list and said exactly what I thought of all of them. And most all of them were connected to the obvious mafioso. We'll just say that, huh? So, no problem with going after murderers. But people that are disparaging, people that post something negative, all this BS is just that. B to the S. Cool. So, Jeanine, I think you know where I stand. Moving on. We got more to talk about because here's where we really hit the ground running. This is going to be great. We got one more to show you. Let's see which one it is. I'm going to hit it to you on the right side of the screen. Here I go. And we're going to listen to some Trump, baby, one more time. Hit it up, Trump.
Gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I think here's the man right here.
I saw it reported today, and it's completely fake news. We're not meeting to talk about the Epstein situation, and I think the reporter who reported it needs to get better sources.
Look, the whole thing is a hoax. It's put out by the Democrats.
You gotta love it, folks. The whole thing's a hoax. The whole thing's a hoax, folks. Don't worry. I mean, the whole thing's a hoax, right? Heavens to Murgatroyd. The whole thing is a hoax. I mean, what do you say? The whole thing's a hoax. Again, there comes a point where you just have to take stock. It's the fool or the fool that follows the fool. We got a vast majority of the cult members that would claim to be Republican that are just following the fool, so that must make them fools. That's all I can think of here. Because here we go. We got Chairman Trump's second regime here, and he's saying for like the fifth time that I know of, there's nothing to see here. These aren't the droids you're looking for. I mean, how much clearer does he have to say it? You know what I mean? Fifth time that I know of on major television, big press conferences, whole 9 yards. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Why are you still talking about Epstein? Huh? Why? Well, it might be because the vast majority of the people in this country have had it up to their blipping ears with hearing about the Jews and protecting them while simultaneously not doing butt kiss towards the cavalcade, cacophony. I'm going to clean it up. Oh, it's hard. Just clean it up. Towards the people that need to be dealt with. I'm cleaning it up as much as humanly possible here. Almost said something real, but I reeled it back in. That's the deal, folks. The American people have had enough of hearing about Israel, the Ukraine, Iran, Iraq, and every other third world bleep hole. We've really just had enough. We don't care. What we want to see is actual justice from the Justice Department towards the pedophile, human trafficking, and dealing in kids scum that makes up the political class of this blipping country. And obviously, its connections to Israel, Mossad, and their big old blackmail pedophile rings. Okay? That's the problem, Trump baby. And you know why? Can we put this back up? Let's go. Well, you can just see right there. I'll put it up again. Because check this boob out. This simpering slime bucket over here on the, I guess, if you're watching this on my screen, it's on the left of the screen. You're going to see this slime bucket. I'll do the video again if I have to, and we can just really enjoy who this scumbag is. Yeah, it's this scumbag right beside Trump's hand, his outstretched hand, as he does the Obi-Wan Kenobi. These aren't the droids you're looking for, American people. You're all complete idiots. You must be. You must be idiots if you're buying any of this bull. So the guy on the left of your screen there, I guess that will make it on the right of Trump. That's none other than Howard Lutnick. Yeah, Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick is clearly a Roman Catholic, and he has no ties to the deep state. He has no ties to big business. He's got no ties to anything. He just happens to be who? Well, that's who he is. He's an American businessman, philanthropist, and serves as the 41st United States Secretary of Commerce under Trump. But you really didn't miss this, did you? CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, BGC Group, Lutnick Cantor, head of Cantor Fitzgerald. And I hope you picked up on the sarcasm because I was laying it on pretty thick. No, he's not a Roman Catholic. He's of a specific group that seems to be the most protected group on the face of this world and probably the next. That's Lutnick. But wait, there's more, because you also missed out this little gem. Howard Lutnick was, I guess, because this guy is allegedly dead, but Howard Lutnick was Epstein's literal neighbor. Just a coincidence, I'm sure. So Howard Lutnick, Epstein's legit neighbor. Howard Lutnick's sister worked with Ghislaine Maxwell. And you know Ghislaine, the only one that's actually in prison for anything to do with the Epstein client list. The only thing is remotely in prison to do with any of these pedophile rings, the trafficking of children, the ridiculous, horrific crimes I'm not going to get into in here. Yeah, Howard Lutnick's sister worked with Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell, you know, the one that's connected to Jeffrey Epstein. You know, the one that didn't kill herself. You know, the one that they just, we found the footage now. You know, AI's got us caught up. Now we can show you this random few seconds of footage that don't prove butt kiss. You know, Jeffrey Epstein, the same one that ran the school in New York. The same one that Bill Barr's father was overseeing. Bill Barr's father, Donald Barr, the actual guy that was basically the puppeteer of Epstein. And now, revelation, I can't believe it's true. They're coming out and actually coming forth and saying, yo, Bill Barr was actually, you know, not a nice guy. As if you didn't know that with the Clinton mess. Like you didn't know that with Oklahoma City and Ruby Ridge and Waco. You didn't catch that? You didn't figure out that Bill Barr was a scumbag? Just wondering. I mean, that's... So now they're finally coming out and saying, oh my goodness, Bill Barr was actually not a nice guy. He wasn't friends with Trump, baby. He actually had all these connections to trying to get Trump out of office and stuff. It's just unbelievable. That's where we are. So yeah, this little laughing hyena boy, the one over here, let me see if I can pull it back up because I had it all set, and my goodness gracious, that boob, the guy on the right of Trump there, that's Howard Lutnick, the one who's just laughing like a hyena. Like, this is just so hilarious. I can't believe how funny this is. Let's play this again. I'm going to play this again because it's just so darn funny, man. You just can't make this stupid mess up. All right, so while you're listening to this again, just focus on this boob. Focus on this hyena boy over here and see if it just doesn't make you want to throw up. Good grief.
Gathering this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation?
Is he working on what?
Is he hosting some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to...
Oh, it's funny. It's hilarious.
I don't know. I could ask you that question.
I can't believe you're asking
I don't
these
know
questions.
of it, but I think here's the man right here.
Epstein was my neighbor. Let's ask J.D. Vance. Let's ask J.D. Vance, the guy with 3 different last names. The guy that's big
Look, the
buddies
whole
with
thing is
Peter
a hoax.
Thiel.
It's
The
put
guy
out
that's
by the
big buddies
Democrats.
with the AI that's going to take you all out. Remember Peter Thiel and Palantir? That's it. Yeah, let's ask J.D. Vance. Is that your real name, J.D. Vance? Is that your third name? J.D. Vance, did you just somehow get a golden parachute and fall into the Palantir Peter Thiel position? What'd you have to do to get that position, J.D.? Just wondering. I mean, you know, off the cuff, we already know that Peter Thiel's, you know, Let's ask old JD if there's anything legitimate about the Epstein thing. And the funny of this whole thing, he loves to throw this in now. That's just some fake news about the Democrats. That's just like all of a sudden, I guess Trump is hip to the fact that most people know, understand, and appreciate that the Democrats are nothing more than a mask, a facade, a con, a hustle, a dodge, a beard, if you will, for the communist Satanists that are really running stuff. So Trump's finally picked up on this little bit of knowledge from 10 years ago. So now he's actually going out and saying the obvious thing that everyone else already knows. But he's saying it in this bizarre way, like we're supposed to just, well, we can't believe that. That's just something the Democrats came up with. No, it's not. That's something that's been known about Epstein for over 20 years. Wasn't it you that allegedly kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago, 20 years ago? Would you kick him out because he was a heck of a nice guy? Because he was just hustling people at pool? I mean, what was up? No, because he was trying to bed underage women. We also know, obvious prima facie at this juncture, he was doing his own breeding program. We know about Ghislaine's submarine license and how there's submarine docks and bases underneath all these little nefarious islands, Little St. John just being one of them. Don't worry, it's all just a big con by the Democrats. Don't believe that. Believe me, Trump. After all, I got my hyena boy over here next to me, Howard Lutnick, Jeffrey's neighbor. His sister worked with Ghislaine. Maybe they were hustling some kids and subs together. This is so sick. I mean, it's hard for me not to laugh because no one else seems to get it. This is sick as bleep, folks. Unreal. Unreal. These aren't the pedophiles you're looking for. They never existed. It's all just a total misunderstanding. Man. Anyone who is buying into or believing in this, at some point you just get what you deserve, okay? You really do. No one's standing up. No one's going to rise up. It's all just going to continue on down the proverbial rabbit hole, if you will. Unbelievable. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. I'm going to have some news for you, hopefully, coming up in one of these next shows, but I'm going to keep that close to the vest. I swear. I'm going to do I'm just going to pick a lock. I got another show coming for you real quick. It's going to be about some other obvious stuff. You can't do everything, but you can do something. Get out there, do your part, make a difference. I'll be seeing you sooner than later in the AnomicAge.
Thank you for listening to the AnomicAge, a JohnAge project. For past shows, further info, and to comment, go to AnomicAge.com. That's AnomicAge.com. Till next time, thank you for listening to the AnomicAge.
Thank you.